Halo semuanya, selamat datang di channel saya Paper Stories.
In some literature, Alexander Graham Bell is called the inventor of the telephone. However, the person who really came up with the idea of the phone was Antonio Meucci. In addition to inventing the telephone, Antonio Meucci has other inventions that he successfully patented. This Italian inventor is also known to be friends with the Italian revolutionary figure, Giuseppe Garibaldi. Antonio Meucci was born in Florence, Italy, on April 13, 1808 with the full name Antonio Sondi Giuseppe Meucci. Since childhood, he has shown an interest in technical matters. In November 1821, Meucci was admitted to the Florence Academy of Fine Arts, where he was the youngest student in the mechanical and chemical engineering class. In 1830, Meucci found work as a stage designer and technician for several theaters. 3 years later, he finally secured a position as assistant chief mechanic at the famous opera house, Teatro della Pergola. It was there that Meucci met a costume designer named Antonio Meucci, who later became his wife. He also created a simple telephone from a pipe which allowed communication between the stage and the control room at the Teatro della Pergola. However, Meucci was imprisoned for being accused of being part of a conspiracy involving the Italian unification movement. Therefore, in 1835, he and his wife decided to accept a job offer as chief mechanic in a large theater in Havana, Cuba. The idea arose to make telephones. In Havana, Antonio Meucci not only took up his main job but also founded the electroplating business and began conducting his own experiments. During the 15 years of living in Havana, Meucci has made a number of valuable discoveries, including designing a water purification system, designing automatic moving theater curtains utilizing electricity for healthcare. When conducting electrical experiments in the medical field, Meucci discovered that wires could transmit sound waves. He named his invention in 1849 the talking telegraph. Unfortunately, due to funding difficulties, Meucci was unable to process the announcement of his discovery. By some experts, this talking telegraph is believed to be the world's first telephone. The process of developing the telephone in 1850, Antonio Meucci and his wife moved to New York after the theater where they worked burned down. There, he continued his main work as a technician with the Italian opera community. While in the basement of his house, Meucci set up a simple laboratory, where he continued to carry out various experiments. Various inventions that were born from his experiments were formulas for making paraffin candles, oil lamps without a chimney, soft drinks, and making paper from wood fibers. Meucci is known to have accommodated Giuseppe Garibaldi, a leader of the Italian independence struggle, at his home. In about 1854, his wife suffered from rheumatoid arthritis, so it was difficult to leave a room on the third floor of her house. This condition prompted Meucci to continue research related to the talking telegraph. In 1856, Meucci finally managed to install a simple telephone equipment between his bedroom and his laboratory in the basement, which made it easier for him to communicate with his wife. Barriers to patenting telephones. Between the mid-1850s and 1870s, Antonio Meucci is thought to have developed more than 30 types of simple telephones based on his early findings. He also made various efforts to attract investors' interest in his findings, but to no avail. At the same time, his financial situation worsened because Meucci never managed to sell his other inventions due to being often beaten by his business partners. The businesses he had built, such as salami, piano, and beer factories, all failed. His finances were completely destroyed when Meucci suffered an injury until his wife was forced to sell all of his experimental equipment. In December 1871, Meucci finally succeeded in forming a partnership with Serrano Braglia Tremestian, Angelo Antonio Tremestian, and Angelo Zilio Gondi to promote his invention. They also prepared a patent application, but due to lack of funds, the nature of the patent was temporary, namely until 1874. Suing Alexander Graham Bell in March 1876, Alexander Graham Bell obtained a patent for his telephone design. After that, Bell demonstrated his telephone to the judges of the Centennial Exhibition, Philadelphia, and soon founded the telephone company AT&T. Since then, the name Alexander Graham Bell is often referred to as the father of the telephone. Antonio Meucci did not stay silent and tried to prove that he was the one who invented the telephone. He also sued Bell's patent, but lost in court. The legacy of Antonio Meucci. Antonio Meucci died on October 18, 1889 after a long battle with his illness. Although in his lifetime he did not get credit for his invention of the telephone, he did receive 5 patents in other fields, including hygrometry and coke. On the centenary of his death, 2 books about Meucci were published in Italy, and a square in Brooklyn was named after him. His home on Staten Island is also still preserved today and was converted into the Garibaldi Meucci Museum. In 2002, the American Congress finally recognized Antonio Meucci as the real inventor of the telephone. However, until now many still think of Alexander Graham Bell as the inventor of the first telephone.